On my journey of becoming a Roblox developer, one of the skills I will have to learn will be the use of Blender. So for this video, I've been tasked by Odin himself to recreate Toothless in Blender. You wouldn't want to miss this. Okay, so to get started, I've gone ahead and created a headpiece for Toothless. I've decided to go with a sphere shape just because his head resembles a sphere the most. I've gone ahead and added more faces to the shape, and what that basically means is that it basically makes it more three-dimensional. So what you've basically seen me do here is I've basically flattened his head because Toothless's face isn't round, it's more pancake shaped-ish. Now, I've gone ahead and done a rough job at his nose per se, but don't worry, it'll be fixed later. We're gonna give him a nice patch and repair for his nose. We'll give it some nice surgical enhancements, if I may. And you see here that I am struggling a little bit with creating the eyes as well as the nose. The reason being is because I want the eyes to kind of sink into the face a little bit while the nose sticks out, and I wasn't quite able to figure that out until much later. And now here you're basically seeing me play around with the lines in Blender. So for the body, I've gone ahead and created a more cylindrical object to start off with. I've tried my absolute best to give it some shape so that it's not just a cylinder, and we're gonna make the backside have more room just because of the fact that we will be attaching legs to it later. Now what you've seen me doing here is that I've basically gone ahead and added a neck piece so that, you know, it's not just the head and then the body, right? I'm pretty sure Toothless has a neck. Now for one of the most important body parts of Toothless is going to be the tail. The reason I say this is because the tail in the movie essentially acts as the bridge between Hiccup and Toothless. Now, if you've seen the How to Train Your Dragon movies, you'll understand why I'm saying this, but if you haven't, I'll give you a brief explanation. So in the movies, Hiccup basically shoots Toothless down from the air in the beginning of the movie. That leads to Toothless losing his tail. Now what this basically causes, Hiccup has to then build a new tail for Toothless, and that's how they kickstart their friendship. Now, time for some dragon trivia. Dragons in mythology are actually depicted to have 4 legs, whereas wyverns are depicted to have 2 legs. So now you might be asking yourself, this Not Loud's dragon, Hookfang, would he be considered a wyvern? I don't have the answer for you, but I would assume not, because the movie is called How to Train Your Dragon, not How to Train Your Wyvern. Legs. Now, the biggest challenge for me with regards to the legs is trying to not make it look like a chicken leg. Granted, chickens are probably descendants of long-lost dragons, or that might be dinosaurs. So after playing around with the legs a little bit, I finally got it to look normal-ish. Now, what's a dragon without wings? Probably dead. So for the wings over here, I've basically gone ahead and extruded the parts, making it smaller gradually as we go further along in the wing. And then after that, I basically duplicated or replicated the end portion of the wing, and I've added it to the joint, I believe, just to make it look a little bit better. Next part of the puzzle is that I'm actually gonna go ahead and create the flaps, I guess that's what you call them? Dragon flaps? Question mark? I'm probably not using the term here, and I'm probably butchering it. Feel free to correct me in the comments, but whatever these things are called. Now, these things were quite easy to do, but it took quite a bit of time just because it revolved around dragging butts for the most part. And for the right wing, what I've basically gone ahead and done is that I've taken the left wing and duplicated it. Okay, and this was probably one of the more fun parts to do, the final details itself. Now, the first draft of Toothless's tail that I did was very jagged. It looked a little bit too much like a maple leaf, so I decided to go ahead and smooth out the edges. Same thing for this guy over here. And I've basically gone ahead and smoothed in Toothless's face as well, because he looked a little too alien-like in the previous draft that we had. Over here, I'm just adding small spikes, copy paste. Not much, but it's honest work. A few more final touches to the tail just to make it look nice. Voila, tail's done. And now I'm just joining these guys up together so that it's a group. That'll give a few more finishing touches to the arms themselves. Now, we've basically gone ahead to the coloring phase of Toothless, and this was a fun aspect to do as well, because coloring, who doesn't like coloring? You guys like coloring? When you were younger, I'm sure you guys had a coloring book. Little eyes, give those eyes a little shade as well, because why not? Decided to also incorporate Toothless's Viking design on his tail. Now, this tail design is based off of Toothless in How to Train Your Dragon 1 and Toothless in How to Train Your Dragon 2. Because if you notice, in the third How to Train Your Dragon movie, Toothless does have a black tail because, spoiler alert, Hiccup does decide to let him go. If I were Hiccup, I would not let him. I'd just like to preface that. He would be mine.
Forever.